What up, peeps? Welcome to today's vlog. It is our day off today, and I'm getting a super late start to the video here. I believe it's like 5:30 p.m. already, but we just haven't really done anything today, so there's been nothing to vlog. Abby left earlier to go get some food with her friend Christina, and she's bringing me back something. She left quite a while ago, so I'm assuming they're doing something else other than just eating. Mike sent me a new Monothea song that he and Chris were working on, and this is the first song where I am writing, at least for now, 100% of the lyrics. I helped Mike write lyrics for the song that I just recorded with Cassidy, but he had written all the lyrics out. I basically went over and changed some things, moved some lines around, and, you know, did that kind of thing. But he came up with the main idea. So this one, he literally just gave me a song title, and he told me what it's about, and I am writing it, and I'm probably halfway done so far. The song is incredible. I love it. Out of everything that Mike or anyone else has written for this new album so far, this is by far my favorite song, from what I've heard so far, obviously. So I'm really excited about it, and not to get anyone's hopes up or anything, and Abby and I have not talked about this. I have not talked about this with any of the guys or anything yet, but there may be like a potential tour in November on the East Coast. Not exactly sure, you know, how it's going to work out, because Chris is in another much bigger band than Monotheist. So he's in a band called Thy Antichrist, and they tour a lot. He just got back from a European tour. I think they did like 19 countries, 39 shows, crazy stuff. And Tyler is also in another band called Seven Kingdoms, which they are probably much bigger than Monotheist as well, and he has the 70,000 Tons of Metal like festival that he's playing in November. So they both have stuff going on, so we have to try to figure some things out and see if we can make it work. So I'll keep you guys updated on that once I have more information, of course, and I still need to talk to Abby about it and figure out, like, if we can make it work on our end. Last time I went on tour, she ran the store pretty much by herself. She did have Josh with her to help, and, you know, by November, maybe we'll have another person hired on. So we'll get it all figured out, but it's still super far off, so nothing to get too excited about yet, but I just want to let you guys know that it is a possibility. So I'm going to get back to writing these lyrics, and hopefully they turn out really awesome. Hopefully everyone likes them. I'm not going to tell you guys what it's about, at least not yet. You guys can hear the song and read the lyrics when it comes out if you'd like. I will, of course, be talking all about the album when it's coming out. I'll have to be recording more stuff, hopefully with Cassidy, and so you guys will see more vlogs about that in the future. But yeah, pretty much it for now. I'm going to finish working on this. I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos today, just getting caught up on stuff, because yesterday we just spent the whole day entering an inventory, which was a good thing. Tomorrow, possibly, I might be going to the store to set up the new shelving, and Nick is going to be picking up the old stuff. So I was going to try to do it today, but just not really feeling it. We were at the store from 11 when we opened at 11 until 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was a super long day. We both woke up with massive headaches, so I'm just trying to take it easy today, get this stuff done, and let you guys know what else I do. I'll probably play some Dragon Quest tonight. I beat the first chapter, so I'm back on the main island now, working on that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys up to date. I have a few boxes here with some stuff for the next pickup video. I also have a lot of stuff at the store that I have not brought home yet, so we'll see how everything goes. I'm trying to focus on the store first, but, you know, if we get everything caught up, I could be filming my pickup video next week or the week after that. Just depends on how long it takes to get everything done, but there's lots of stuff in here. Hi, kitty. She's so cute. I have some eBay sales. Whoa! Oh my god, I just walked through a spider web. Sold some stuff on eBay that I gotta grab. One thing is this Army of Darkness card game. That sold for $25. And I don't remember what else. Here's one of my Game Crazy signs out here in the garage. Obviously no room for this in the game room. This is 10 feet long or something. This thing's crazy. And people are always asking if I have more of these TVs for sale. There's one with a DVD player in it. This one here has a DVD player and VCR, and there's another little one right back there. But they're not at the store, so can't really sell them. Alright, so we got 2 packages here to open. One of them, pretty sure it's just some repair stuff that we need for the store. I'm just gonna give them to Richard, basically. Oh my gosh, it's packing peanuts. So we have Pokemon batteries for the Game Boy games. There's 100 of them here. So one of our regulars needs a couple of these, so I'm gonna save a couple at the store for him. We'll probably save just a couple more just in case, but all of these pretty much just go to Richard because he replaces all of our stuff for us. And then the other package here should be pretty cool. I don't know what this is. Some customs declaration thing that says prayer reads. So it looks like it says. I don't think that's what it actually says, but let's open this thing up. This one should be pretty cool. So this is Wolverblade for the Switch. This is from Super Rare Games. That's a really cool cover. It's like, I don't know, it's like shiny. It's kind of hard to show it on camera, but Super Rare is a company like Limited Run, if you guys haven't heard of them, and they do Switch games only. They have a little card they put in, and then with every game, you get a sticker and like a little pack of trading cards, which they make for each game, which is kind of cool. So this is Wolverblade. This is number 18. This is their 18th game. Their earlier ones got really, really expensive, and I sold the first 4 releases that they did. I bought 2 of each, one to keep for the collection and just 1 extra. And I ended up selling. I sold all 4 of them that I had my duplicates, and one of them was like $450 that it sold for. It was crazy, and these things are 30 bucks brand new. So that was quite the come up on that one. But after the 4th release, I just kind of stopped because it was getting too expensive. This one has a slip cover, now that I'm seeing. It's got a slip cover on it, which is pretty cool. I think that's the first one that they've done like that, at least the first one I've gotten. So Wolverblade for the Switch, pretty cool stuff. Those are the only 2 packages I had for you today, though. So I'm getting close to finishing writing up the lyrics for that song, and I'm actually going to try to record them here at home. Just scratch track vocal type stuff, just so that I can show it to Mike, show him how I want the vocals to be, and we'll see what he says. So because I do not have too much footage for this vlog, I thought that I would do something a little different, and instead of just filming whatever we do, I thought that I would actually go through and show you guys the more expensive or rare games in the collection. And before I show you guys these, I want to mention this is not to brag or show off or anything like that. I do love sharing my collection with you guys and with, you know, everyone on YouTube. The reason I'm doing this is because I know people want to see it. So with that said, I tried to pick out games that were mainly just above the $100 mark, because if I go below that, then I have way too many to show you. And I actually had too many Super Nintendo games, so that's going to be a separate video. If you guys want, let me know. So there are a couple in here that are under that $100 mark, but it's only because there's only one of them from the entire system that I have that's kind of worth showing. So we'll start off with one of those, and that is Hotel Mario for the Philips CDI. This one is under the $100 mark, but I only have 4 CDI games. This is one of the 4, and the other ones are all pretty cheap, so I figured I would show that one. This one got traded into the store at some point. I'm not going to be able to tell you where I got every single one of these from, because a lot of them are from years ago and I don't remember. A lot of them have come into the store, which is cool, and I have the opportunity to get some of these games that way. Others I got from other game stores. I got from PRGE, from trades over Facebook or Instagram and other places, and some off of eBay, of course, as well. So I'll show you guys some PlayStation 2 games next. I'm not going to do these in any particular order. I will keep them separated by system, but I'm not like saving the best for last or anything like that. So we have Kuon. Just picked this one up recently from Recycle Video Games. Blood Will Tell. This one I grabbed off of eBay recently as well. Haunting Ground. I picked this one up from a game store that was in McMinnville, Oregon. I think they might have closed, but it was a GameStar location. They had this one, and I got this a while ago, but even then it was a great price. They had it sitting on the shelf marked at $44.99. Even at that time, it went for about $100, so I got a really good price on that. And then Rule of Rose. This one I got in a Craigslist deal with a system and a bunch of other games, and I ended up paying like a couple bucks for this, and it didn't have a manual. And I waited forever, and then finally somebody traded a complete copy into the store, so I was able to complete mine and get the best condition of everything, and then we sold the other one. So I only have one Switch game here to show you guys, and there may be other Switch games in my collection that are over that $100 mark. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to go back and look. But I do have a lot of special editions, especially from NAS America, and some of those I know were over that $100 mark, but I didn't want to go through and try to figure out which one, so I just picked out this one to show you guys, and that is Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. This is factory sealed. This one is the 4th game released by Super Rare Games out of the UK, and I actually had a second copy of this that I ended up selling on eBay for 450 bucks, so I know this is an expensive one. Pretty cool. I also only have one 3DS game. I don't think that I have any more that are over the $100 mark, but I picked this one out. This is a factory sealed first pressing, first release, whatever you want to call it, of Cave Story 3D with the lenticular slipcover. And this one is completely new. The slipcover is not sealed to the rest of it, but I know that this is new because I got this from my friend Sam, and he bought this himself from Toys R Us, so that one is super cool. This next one is another one that is below that $100 mark, but once again, out of like the 5 or 6 games I have for this collection, this is the only one that is actually rare, and that is Demon Attack for the Odyssey 2. And this one I picked up from another local game store a long time ago. They had gotten in a bundle of Odyssey 2 games that were all complete in box, and this was one of them, and they were right in thinking that they probably would never sell, and, you know, this one probably would have sold, but the rest of them were fairly cheap, and so the owner made me an offer that I couldn't refuse to just buy everything, and I think it included this, 2 of the really big box games with, like, all the little pieces, and then probably 5 or 6 other standard-sized box games, and I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks for everything, so I definitely could not pass that up. This one goes for about 65, I think, at least last time I looked, but that's a cool one to have in the collection. Next up, we're going to look at some Wii games here, and some of these also are not above that $100 mark, but it's hard to find a lot of Wii games that are. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is American Mensa Academy, but I do not have that one. So here we have My Horse and Me Riding for Gold. It's got these GameStop stickers on there. Someone bought it for 18 bucks. And then also Fritz Chess. I know that I got this one through a trade over Facebook. And then this one, probably the hardest to find out of what I have, is the Fishing Resort, which comes in the big box with the little controller attachment. This one is brand new. The box never came sealed, but the game inside is sealed. So I did open the box because I didn't know before, I didn't know till I bought it. But the game inside is sealed, and I got this from a local thrift store marked for $14.99, which is crazy. This will go for over 100 bucks like this, and I got this a couple years ago now, so the price might have gone up. I'm not sure. I haven't checked, but just the game alone is hard to find, let alone in the big box, and then, also getting the game sealed inside as well is not super cheap or easy to find. So I also have one TurboGrafx game here, which I got, I've talked about it when I got it, but it's a very long story, but basically a guy who lives kind of in my neighborhood was holding a garage sale, and I talked to him. I bought a few video game items that he had and told him that I'm always looking for retro stuff, and he said his dad had some TurboGrafx stuff and some Atari stuff in his shed in the backyard, and after hounding the guy for months, we finally were able to go to his dad's house and dig through that shed and ended up finding this along with a bunch of other stuff. There's one other game that I would have shown, however, I only have the box and manual, which is Airzonk. I got that out of there as well, but this one is fully complete, and this is Soldier Blade for the TurboGrafx. This is actually one of the most expensive games in my entire collection. This one is very hard to find, very expensive. The box is really beat up here. You can kind of see, you can see all the wear and stuff, but, you know, I was still very happy to get this, and because it was just like a little, I mean, I would almost call it like a barn find, it was very, very cheap. I have a couple DS games here as well. One of them is sealed, which is why it's more expensive. The other one is just hard to find, and that is Magician's Quest Mysterious Times. So this one, I actually had the box manual for it for quite some time, which I believe came from the Goodwill outlet. And then shortly after opening the store, somebody traded in a cartridge-only copy, and so I was able to put them together and complete this one for the collection, which was super cool. The other one I also got from my friend Sam, which is why I know that it's brand new, because he also bought this himself from Toys R Us. That is a brand new big box copy of Pokemon Soul Silver. So this box doesn't come sealed, but he bought it brand new and never opened it, and I bought it directly from him and I've never opened it, so we know that this is brand new. And what was really cool is that I believe I was with him when he found this, and at the time of finding it, it had been discontinued for a very, very long time, so chances are an employee found this like in the back somewhere. Maybe it had fallen on the floor or something, but this was put out. So he bought this at retail. I think it was like 50 bucks brand new, and even at that time they were going for like 200. So that was an awesome find, and it was cool to be there for that, and I'm lucky that I ended up with it. I have some Dreamcast games as well, only 2 here. These both came into the store, actually together. We have Power Stone 2 and Cannon Spike. And the Dreamcast is a set that I've always thought would be really, really cool to finish. And the only problem is that the games are so hard to find in person that I know once I get to the point where I'm focusing on trying to complete the Dreamcast set, I'm going to have to buy a lot of them offline, which is my least favorite way of getting games, because I think it's way more fun to find them in person. You always get cool stories out of them and stuff, but these two are really nice to knock off the list, and having the store definitely helps to get certain titles like this. These are the only 2 Dreamcast games I have that are going for over 100 bucks, and there's a handful of other ones that are not super easy to find, so I'm still on the lookout for those, of course. Next up, I have some Wii U games here, and currently at the time of filming this video, the Wii U is the only set that I have completed. I'm still missing some variants, but I do have at least one of every game that was released in North America. These 3 that I have here are variants, and these are all extremely rare. 2 of them might be the actual rarest games in my entire collection, and while they're probably not the most expensive, I think that they are probably the rarest because of how little of them were actually released. But first we have the Lego Marvel Superheroes Walmart exclusive bundle that comes with a, what is that, the Iron Patriot minifigure. And this is a Walmart exclusive, like I said. This one is still factory sealed. I got this off of eBay, and I have no idea what this goes for because at the time of filming, there's none posted and none sold on eBay, and it's not on price charts either. So I really don't know how rare this is or how expensive it is. Obviously it's rare, but I don't know what they go for. And there's another one that's very similar. It's the Lego Jurassic World that comes with a Dr. Wu minifigure, which I'm also looking for. I believe that one was a Target exclusive. That one is like the last rare variant that I need. That one is extremely hard to find. If you have one, please let me know, but that one is super cool. And then the 2 that I believe are probably the rarest games in my collection, I have the Hyrule Warriors Limited Edition. This was limited to the Nintendo store in New York City, and from everything that I've been able to gather, all the info that I've seen, this one was limited to 500, and this is factory sealed. And then I also have the Mario Kart 8 Limited Edition, which was also limited to that Nintendo store in New York, and from what I gather, this one was limited to 200. So that's a very, very low print run for an officially released game, especially a Mario and a Zelda game. So these ones are extremely hard to find, and the most current information that I have on prices is this one sells for about $1,200, but the Mario Kart 8 one, it looks like there has not been one that is sold on eBay, at least new, since 2015. So your guess is as good as mine as what they sell for. I would assume it's at least as much as this one, because at the time of filming there's 1 or 2 of these on eBay. and there's more accurate data on those ones that have sold recently, but the Mario Kart one just can't find any sales info on them for the past few years. I have a nice little stack of PS1 games here to go through. There's quite a few, and I tried to stick with these to just picking ones that were over $100, or at least right at the $100 mark, because there's lots of them that are in the $70, $80, and $90 range, and if I included those, the stack would be twice as big. So we have The Adventures of Lomax. This one came into the store, and I knew that it was a rare game when it came in, but I didn't know that it was as expensive as it is, so I was very lucky to get that one. It's a game that I've never owned until this one. Then we have Suikoden 2, which I think is just a bit more expensive, not actually as rare. I've probably owned 4, 5, or 6 copies of this in the past couple years alone. Then we have Persona 1 and 2. These have both come into the store at least a couple times each, but I got these ones before we opened the store in an Instagram trade. And then I have the Lunar Silver Star Story complete in the big box with all the stuff that originally comes with it. I think there's like a watch that might have been like a pre-order bonus or something like that, which I do not have, but this thing is fully complete otherwise. This one is only super expensive because it's factory sealed. There are some rips in the seal, so I would never attempt to like get this graded or anything. It's really not in the best condition, but it is still unopened, and that is a factory sealed copy of Koudelka. And you can see there's a big rip right up here, so it's definitely not in great condition. There's a rip on the back there as well, but it is sealed, so you can tell it's still sealed, but I thought that was still pretty cool. Then we have another one that came into the store that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And this is a game that, once again, I've never owned until this copy, so that's pretty cool. And I've been collecting, buying, and selling since about 2007, 2008, so it's a long time to only have ever found one copy. I then have Elemental Gearbolt. This one I picked up from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2018, I believe. And I got this from Kevin, very, very nice guy. And I believe that I ended up getting this for like $60, which is a really, really good price. Then lastly, for PS1, I have Clock Tower 2. This one also came into the game store, but this was a long time ago. We've almost been open for about a year now, and this one came in, I think, in like maybe a month to 2 months after we opened, so it's been a while for that one. So I actually have one more PS1 game that I would probably include in this list, but it's actually in my Nintendo Glass case, which I'll show you guys here. I only have a few graded games, and I sent these in myself, so you can see there's a Nintendo NES one, there's the Nectaris Military Madness for PlayStation 1, and then I have a couple Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo game, as well as a Final Fantasy for Game Boy. And those are all factory sealed, of course. I got them all personally. I did not buy them off of eBay or anything like that. I found those all in person, which is super cool. And then I also have a little stack of Genesis games here. And once again, if I included games that were in the $60 to $90 range, I'd have a lot more to show you, so I tried to stick with only things that are over $100. So we have Mega Turrican. Got this one recently. I also have Castlevania Bloodlines. This is the cardboard case version with the hang tab and everything. Excellent condition. I have Splatterhouse 2, which I got from the Portland Retro Swap Meet, which they do in January of every year. This one, someone actually brought it to my booth and asked if I was interested in buying some stuff. They pulled out this, a couple other games, and a Nomad, and I asked them what they wanted, and I think they said like $120 at the time, which was super cheap. Turned out that the Nomad did not work, but I ended up selling that for like $80 for parts on eBay by itself, so this one was very, very cheap in the end. I also have Thunder Force 3, which I got in a Facebook trade. And then the only cardboard box game I have here to show is Skeleton Crew. This one is in really, really nice condition. We had a customer from the store who stumbled across I guess it was like an estate sale, and they had a huge box of Genesis stuff, and that was one of the games that was in there. And everything that came out of that collection was in perfect condition, so that was super cool. Last Genesis game I have is Gunstar Heroes. This one also, I think, is just a little more expensive than it actually is rare. This one, unfortunately, has the barcode cut out of the artwork. This was a condition upgrade because I had a previous copy, but the whole front was really badly sun-faded. But I've had a few copies of this one, so I don't think it's that rare, just expensive. Next, let's move on to GameCube. I am focusing on GameCube right after I finish the Nintendo 64 set. I'm only 12 games away from completing the N64 set, so GameCube is next up on my list. And so I'm very happy to have what I have already knocked off the list, and I only need a few more games that are over that $100 mark, so very happy with that. But I have the Metroid Prime and Wind Waker double pack here. This one I got from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2016, I believe. I don't remember what I paid for it, but really happy to have it. Next up, this is a really rare one. This is the Super Monkey Ball 2-pack, and this one is actually my old copy. I got a new one recently that my buddy Sam was able to pick up from his local store down in Florida, which is a condition upgrade over this one. This green right here is not sun-faded, and that is. You can kind of see it in the video. It's way more noticeable in person, but that side is a little bit sun-faded, and then there's this little hole in the front of the box right there. So the new one that I have is a really, really nice condition upgrade, so I'll be selling or trading this one. And then also recently I picked up the Resident Evil 10th Anniversary Collection. This is basically only rare because of the slip cover. It just has 3 Player's Choice copies of Resident Evil 1, 0, and 4, but this slipcover is a GameStop exclusive bundle here, and this one makes it more expensive. And then we have Gotcha Force. This one has a pretty cool story. I picked this up in Eugene, Oregon from a game store that I believe is still there, but they've kind of shifted what they do. They're kind of like carrying less retro video games and doing more of like the bar arcade kind of thing. But I picked this up. It was disc and case only for $90, and I waited about 2 or 3 years until we opened up the store, and finally somebody traded in a complete copy similar to the Rule of Rose situation. So I was able to get a manual to complete my copy, and then we sold the other one at the store. We actually have another complete Gotcha Force at the store right now, but a completely separate one. Then I have Cubivore. I picked this up from PRGE the same year that I picked up the Metroid and Wind Waker one, so very lucky to knock that one off the list. And then we have Go-Go Hypergrind, which has a GameStop price tag of $15 new, and then it also has a 30% off sticker on it. This one is kind of one of those like expensive GameCube games that not too many people know about. It's not a super popular one. And like I said, there are still some more expensive GameCube games I need, but I'm very happy with what I have so far. The last one I have I got recently. If you guys are new to the channel, you probably have seen this, but this is a factory-sealed Pokemon box in the big box here. I picked this up from Super Smash Games in Tacoma, Washington. This is sealed, like I said. It's got, got a couple creases here and there, which I'm not too worried about. I'm just very, very happy to have this one. That was going to be the hardest game for me to find. Even just a complete in-box copy can sell for up to $1,000, so I was really happy to get that one, and for it to be sealed is just icing on the cake. And then I have a few Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games here. So the only Game Boy Advance game I have, I had a couple that were close to the $100 mark, but I decided to leave them out. This one is only above that mark because it's factory sealed, and that is a sealed copy of Pokemon Sapphire. It's got some sticker residue on the, the seal right there. I probably could clean it off if I want to. I probably will at some point, but I'm not too bothered by it. This one came into the store, which was super cool. It came in with a bunch of complete in-box Pokemon games. This was the only one that was sealed, but very, very happy to have that. And then for the original Game Boy, I have Ultima Runes of Virtue 2. This one has a really cool story as well. So there used to be a game store here in Vancouver called Conway Games. They were more of a card shop. They closed recently, but they would carry video games, and the owner did not use price charting. And so he had this on the shelf behind the counter, and I asked, oh, how much is that one? And he tried to go on eBay and look at sold listings or anything posted, but there was nothing posted or sold for it with the box. And so he gave me a price off the top of his head based off of the price of a cartridge, which at the time was about $30, $35 bucks. So he said, how about 65? And I said yes. as I had price charts open on my phone where it was showing at the time $250. So I was very, very glad to get that one and add that to the collection. It's in extremely good condition as well. And then this one technically is box and manual only. I do not have the cartridge yet, but this is Game Boy Color, Revelations, the Demon Slayer. And it does have this big previous played sticker on the back, but other than that, it's in really nice condition. I got this one in a purchase or trade from my friend John, and I don't remember what I paid for or traded for this, because usually when I buy stuff from him, it's in a big lot. So I probably got a bunch of Game Boy boxes and manuals all at the same time, but I need a cartridge for that one, which obviously is much cheaper than the box and manual, so very happy to have that. And then lastly, for Game Boy Color, I have a factory sealed Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. And there was another game store here in Vancouver that closed called Gameplay. And when they closed, we actually bought out the majority of their inventory, and this was one of the games included in there. So I was very glad to add this one to the collection. It's not perfect, it's got some creasing on the side here and a little like dent in the back, but there's no major rips or tears in the seal, so very, very awesome game for the collection. So next up, I figured we'd look at the NES games, and one of the games in here is probably the most expensive game in my entire collection. My NES collection in general is not the most expensive collection I have. That probably goes to Super Nintendo, but this is one of the games in here, which I will save for last for here, at least for this little section of NES, is probably the most expensive game in my entire collection. So we have Contra Force. I picked this one up at PRGE 2017, I think, maybe 16. I got this one from Gerald. He's one of the organizers of the Retro Expo. I think at the time I paid like $220, something like that, which pretty good price. Then we have Power Blade, the first one. This one is just barely over that $100 mark, but I actually do not remember where I got this one. Then we have G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I have both G.I. Joe games, but only this one is over that $100 price point. And I actually got this one from Buybacks, which, once again, is another local store that ended up closing only like a couple days ago, a week ago now. So I got this one a long time ago from them. I think I got both the G.I. Joe games from them on the same day, and if I remember correctly, one of them was priced at $30 and one of them was priced at $35. They were priced as cartridges, but they were both complete, so I got this one for a very, very good price. Then we have Donkey Kong Jr. I got the box and manual for this for a total of $6 from the Vancouver Toy Show. Not the last one, but the last before that we went to. Someone just had it at their booth. They had a bunch of boxes of manuals and some other video game stuff, and I ended up buying most of it, and this was included in there. And then we already had a cartridge at the store, so I was able to complete that one, so very, very cheap on that. Next, I have Dragon Warrior 3, and as you can tell, this one still has the plastic on it. It's not sealed, but it's just cut open at the top there. I love getting games like this with the seal still intact and just sliced open at the top. This is like the best condition you can get, the closest to perfect without it being actually sealed, in my opinion. I believe that I got this, at least most of it. I think when I got it, it was missing a manual, and I bought the manual off of eBay to complete it. But I got this from a store that, once again, also closed in Sherwood, Oregon, called Game Haven. And I believe I paid $100 for the box and cartridge, and then I got the manual for like 20 or 30 or something like that. But in this, I think I ended up spending more than it was worth at the time, but I think now that's a pretty good price, and to get it in this condition, that does add some value as well, of course. And then to go along with that, I also have Dragon Warrior 4. I picked this up from the Portland Retro Swap Meet. Not the same year that I got whatever that last game was. I can't even remember. But this one, I think I paid $100 for it complete, which was a pretty good price. And then I have Stack Up with the big box here. This one is almost complete. It's missing the tray that holds all the pieces together, and then it's also missing the little hand attachments for Rob the Robot. Other than that, it's fully complete. I actually got this from a garage sale here in Vancouver a few years ago, and the guy had a couple video game items out for sale, but he didn't have this out, and I asked if he had any other video game stuff, and he was telling me he has this little collection, and he's got the boxes and everything, so he actually invited me inside to check stuff out. And when I saw this, I was like, are you sure you don't want to sell it? Because I'd be really, really interested in this one. The other games he had were cheaper, and he didn't like have them on a shelf or anything like he was displaying them nicely. He just had everything in a tub that was like pushed into his entertainment center. And so I asked about this, and ended up getting it for like $30, I think, and it was missing the cartridge. He couldn't find the cartridge anywhere, so I just got the box, the manual, and then the pieces that are in here for like $30, and then ended up getting the cartridge a while later for like 50 or 60 or something. So I still need the little hand pieces for Rob, and then I need that little plastic insert, which I'm probably never gonna find, but that was probably one of my best finds ever from a garage sale. And then finally, probably the most expensive game in my entire collection, I have a complete in-box Little Samson. And this one, you know, it's not perfect. It's got some creasing and stuff on the side, but a little bit of writing on the back here. But you really can't be picky when it comes to something like this. I got this from the Portland Retro Swap Meet as well, a different year though from the other two. And I'm very, very happy to have this one. I paid up for it, but they have sold and are still selling for quite a bit more than I paid for this one, so that's good at least. And I got this nice little acrylic case for it to protect it. I only have 2 of these acrylic cases in my whole collection. I got one for this and one for another game, which you'll see here in just a moment, but that is probably the rarest and most expensive game in my entire collection. Next, we're going to be taking a look at some Sega CD and Sega Saturn games. So first up, I have Shining Force CD, and this is actually a factory sealed copy. I got this one over Facebook. I bought it from someone in a Facebook group, and I think I paid $190 shipped at the time, which was really, really close to what it sold for, or what it was going for, but I think now it goes for a bit more, so that was a cool one. And I don't have an opened copy yet. Whenever I get a sealed game, I try to get an opened one as well, so that I can actually play it if I ever decide to. I usually don't go after sealed games. I will only pick them up if I find one for a good price, which at the time I thought that was, so I was happy to grab that one. And then I have Lunar Eternal Blue and Lunar the Silver Star, as I smack them into each other. I got both of these from the store. Someone traded them in together. Very, very cool games. And then the last Sega CD game I have is Android Assault. This one I believe was also traded into the game store, but not with those. It was a separate bundle. And this one, according to my spreadsheet, was only going for about $90.95, but I checked it right before pulling it off the shelf for this part of the video, just to make sure and see if it had gone up, and it did. So it's over that $100 mark now, so it's in the video. And then I have 4 Sega Saturn games. I actually have a 5th one, but it's not here. It's still at the store, which you guys, if you watched yesterday's vlog, you saw it. It was the Guardian Heroes. And then 3 Dirty Dwarves as well. Those are both at the store still, so I've got those, but also we have Shining Wisdom. Don't remember where I got that. We have Saturn Bomberman, which is probably the most expensive Sega game that I own. And this one I got over a Facebook group, and I traded for this one. I believe it was some store owner that had this, and he was looking for Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon type games, so I traded him a bunch of those and ended up getting the Saturn Bomberman. And I think he gave me full trade value as well. I think I might have thrown him like an extra Ocarina of Time or something, but that was really, really cool. And then we have Dragon Force, and this one, the manual and stuff is so thick, like it never wants to stay closed. Like you can see it, the case bulging and everything. But that one is complete. They're all complete, but very cool. I don't remember where I got that one either. And then lastly, I also don't remember where I got this, but we have Albert Odyssey. So as you can tell, pretty much all of the Sega CD and Sega Saturn games are Working Designs games. They have that little pink logo at the top. But their covers are just so cool. And when I have time, I would love to play through some of them. So lastly, we're going to be going through Nintendo 64, and the reason that I saved these for last is simply because the Nintendo 64 is my favorite system, as most of you guys know, and I'm only 12 games away from a complete set. So if I had the complete set, there would only be one more game in here that I'd be showing, and it's obviously one I don't have yet, which is Superstar Soccer 2000. There's an English and a Spanish version that are both North American. I'd like to get both eventually. I don't have either of them yet, but I do have every other game that is over that $100 mark. There might have been one or two that I missed that are right on the cusp. Potentially, I don't know, but off the top of my head, possibly Carmageddon 64, Daikatana, there's a couple others, so some of them might also be over the $100 mark, but I tried to pick out the ones that I know for sure are without having to look all the other ones up. So first up we have Rat Attack. And then this one I think is probably one of the more rare games on the system that people never talk about. And if you look at price charts and you look at eBay sold listings, this game sells complete in box less often than Sculptor's Cut does. So I think in reality this game is probably more rare than Sculptor's Cut, at least the complete in box version, but it's definitely nowhere near as expensive. It's still expensive, but not crazy like Sculptor's Cut. So this is NBA In the Zone 2000. And we actually have a second complete copy of this available at the store right now. But this one is really, really hard to find, and this one's in really nice condition, fully complete with the registration card, which I got the registration card recently. And then we have Snowboard Kids 2, which is a fantastic game. Both the Snowboard Kids games are so much fun. And then also Chameleon Twist 2. This one is still missing a manual, unfortunately. If you have a manual for this, please let me know. I'm looking for one. I probably need about 7 or 8 manuals still for the boxes that I already have, but still very glad to have as many as I do. And then we have Worms Armageddon, and this one still has the plastic on it. Obviously cut open at the side here, but with the plastic on it is awesome. I got this one from PRGE as well, from the same Kevin that I got Elemental Gearbolt from, and this one I believe I paid $300 at the time, and that was PRGE 2018, so last year. But that was a great price, especially in this condition. And then we have Super Bowling, which this one the price has gotten crazy on. I don't remember exactly what I paid for this one, but it was like a fourth of what it goes for now, so that was awesome. I'm pretty sure I had to buy that one off of eBay, but I got it a few years ago, so that was good for me to keep the price down. And then we have Stunt Racer 64. This box is one that I would like to upgrade at some point. It's not terrible, but there was a circular sticker right here. I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see right there where it was. Someone removed it and it left behind a little bit of damage. The box is not bad at all, but it is one that I would like to upgrade at some point. It's got a little rip on the back there as well. This one is probably the second most expensive complete in box N64 game if you don't count like any weird variants. This one I bought off of eBay and it was an auction and I ended up winning it for $500 complete, which is a pretty good price, so I'm happy with that for sure. And then we have a variant here. This is the Gauntlet Legends with the Metal Warrior figurine variant. So this one's pretty hard to find. They only came with the Warrior figurine, and there's some misinformation out there. Sometimes people are trying to sell it with like an Archer figurine or something else. The N64 version only came with the Warrior, so definitely try to remember that. There are other versions of the figure, they just didn't come in the N64 version. I think they were available as like a bonus or something, or like a mail-in bonus with the Dreamcast version of the game. I don't know exactly, but I do know for a fact that the Warrior one was the only one that came in the N64 version of the game, so keep that in mind if you're ever on the lookout for that one. Then we have Bomberman 64, the Second Attack. I got this one from PRGE 2016, and this is like the first thing that I bought that day. That was my first PRGE, I believe. It's either 15 or 16, but that was my first one, and I got this from Dennis, which he's become a friend of mine. He is the founder of Wada Games, and he had this at his table. I think I traded him a complete in box copy of Mr. Do for Super Nintendo, which was a double for me. It was in really bad condition though, and then paid some cash on top of that. So this was one of the games that I was looking for specifically at the expo, and to be one of the first things I found was super cool. So thank you to Dennis if you're watching. And then I have a very, very rare variant here that is not fully complete, unfortunately. I'm missing the main piece of it, but this is the big box version of Rampage 2. And as you can see, this still has the plastic on the box, which is super cool. Cut open at the end, obviously. I'm missing the keychain plush that goes in here, and it's got these Walmart stickers on it, which is kind of cool. But there is a keychain plush that comes in here, and if you want to get really technical, there's a few different ones. So there's 3 different ones. You can see them on the back here. So if you're a hardcore variant collector, you're going to have to get one with each of those, which is, at this point, probably going to be near impossible. The keychain plush alone will sell for $1,000 plus. I got very lucky. Somebody contacted me with this a long time ago, like 4 or 5 years ago now. I think it was probably like 4 years ago, and I think I ended up paying like $500 shipped for this, which I could be a little off, but it was somewhere around there, and I think that's a pretty good price. I've been offered more for this one since then, but I obviously turned it down because this is not for sale. It's got everything minus that plush. If you happen to have one somehow, please let me know. I'm not looking to spend $1,000 on one just to complete this, but I am interested if maybe anyone wants to work out a trade or something. And then finally, before I show this last game, I also wanted to just mention again that I'm going to be doing a separate video on my most expensive Super Nintendo games because there's a ton of them. I bought my friend Sam's collection of Super Nintendo complete in box games a few years ago, and he only collected RPGs and like the harder to find stuff. So that combined with what I already had gave me a really, really awesome Super Nintendo collection. And I only collect complete in box. I'm sure you guys can tell, but that I just picked out games that were $100 or more, and there's like 30 or 40 games in there. So that'll be a separate video. Not sure exactly when it's going to go up, but I'm going to film it right after this one just to have it done, and you'll probably see it in the next few days. So the last game I have to show here is the crown jewel of my N64 collection. This is a complete in box copy of Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, and this is the second game that has an acrylic case here. This one, I just straight up bought it off of eBay a few years ago. I had a complete N64 set when I lived in Florida before I sold my whole collection, moved back over here, and then started collecting again after a bit. And I always regretted getting rid of this one because the first time I bought it, I paid about half of what I had to pay to get this one. But I'm very happy with this one. It's in really, really nice condition. It does have this one little Blockbuster sticker here that somebody tried to remove. I even might have done that. I don't remember. But the cartridge does not have any Blockbuster stickers on it, which is kind of hard to find for this game because it was a Blockbuster exclusive. So very, very glad to have this one in the collection. I actually owned this as a kid, which is just so crazy to me to think because I never had like a ton of games. Like, I think we probably had like 10 or 12 N64 games, but I specifically remember opening this on Christmas morning. My uncle, or no, my grandpa got it for me, and he lived on Vashon Island here in Washington State, and I'm pretty sure they had a Blockbuster at some point, and that's probably where he got it. So, and I remember opening it, and it had the box, because I remember seeing this, and me being a little kid, I probably ripped the box open, threw it in the trash, and just pulled out the cartridge, you know? So I probably threw away the box and manual. But that is one of my favorite pieces in the collection, and definitely the hardest to find complete in box N64 game. Maybe minus this, obviously. Some of the variants are going to be really hard to find, and I'm still missing a bunch of variants as well, but as far as regular games go, this is the hardest one to find and most expensive, so very glad to have that. So, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this extremely long video. The first half was kind of regular vlog style, or not the first half, but the first couple minutes, and then it turned into this extremely long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said when I started this little part of it, I'm not trying to show this stuff to brag or show off or anything like that. I just know that this is something that you guys like to see. If somebody posted a video saying, here's all the expensive games in my collection, I know I'd want to watch it, and hopefully that, you know, comes across, and hopefully you guys don't think that I'm just trying to show off, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. None of these games are for sale, so I'm not trying to do anything like that. But I do like sharing my collection, and I hope that you guys can appreciate that, and you know, at the very least, hopefully you guys learned a little something. Maybe there was a game in here that you guys have in your collection that you didn't know was rare or expensive. Maybe you guys are collecting for a certain system and you didn't know that maybe one of these games is harder to find, and so now you're going to be on the lookout for it. That's all I'm hoping to do, is maybe give a little bit of information and just show you guys some stuff that not everyone gets to see every day, and hopefully just put out an entertaining video for you guys. So that's going to do it. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around this long, definitely give this video a thumbs up if you can. While you're down there, leave a comment as well. Let me know what rare games you have in your collection. I'd love to know. And like I said, if you have any of the pieces that I'm missing here, the plush keychain for this, the Chameleon Twist 2 manual, anything like that, just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys again next time.